great hands, Ben Healy, huge amount of space outside, and into that space goes Darcy Graham. Finn Russell for Darcy Graham. Is this going to bounce for Scotland as the Mortier?
So last year, here's Darcy Graham. Graham! Oh, that's brilliant!
There's a picture of the job done as the Legion of green jerseys, the Impact players, storm onto the field.
Is your sauna working yet?
Oh yeah, it's been up and running for a while now.
What's that for training all that?
Just beautiful. Yeah, so kind of tweaked my adductor in that Rugby World Cup game against Ireland, and since then it's just never really got on top of it. It's been pretty painful, kind of on my left side, and then it's now kind of drifted into my right side as well. So we tried to get away without getting surgery on it, and that was kind of the biggest issue. Like, we were wanting to stay away from surgery, so I ended up getting a steroid injection in it, which made it feel class for like a month almost. I got 4 games out of it, and then it was just masking the pain, and it got progressively worse. So there was no other option was to go down and get that surgery on it and get my adductor pretty much reattached to the bone. It kind of peeled off from that bone, so yeah, I had to get it reattached, which sounds worse than it was. The surgery went really well, it was pretty straightforward, and yeah, I'm very thankful to get it done so quickly, and hopefully get the tail end of the season would be nice.
Darcy had been managing a groin issue for a period of time throughout the World Cup, and when he returned to us, and then throughout that period where he was playing throughout December, and had an unfortunate incident where he accelerated and sidestepped and felt an exacerbation of his groin issue. So the first port of call for us was to arrange some imaging, and unfortunately what that indicated was the kind of severity of the injury was that which we needed to kind of seek some specialist opinion, and Darcy ended up going for groin surgery in March of this year. So that was the kind of initial process in terms of how we coordinated his care plan. My role, kind of leading on Darcy's rehabilitation from a physio perspective, that's when I kind of get more control over what we're doing with Darcy, is in that kind of post-operative period. So for us, the first 6 weeks were really quite important. There's a couple of key things which we really had to make sure that we stayed on top of. Because the area where he'd had the operation, it was really important that we respected that wound healing, and we gave that time to settle down. Post-operatively, we had some pretty clear instructions around what we were and weren't allowed to do to protect that area and allow it to heal. So for the first 3 weeks, we were pretty restricted in terms of what Darcy could do, staying on top of his pain, allowing his kind of natural healing, allowing the body to do its thing. He was limited to using crutches for the first 3 weeks as well. So from our perspective, that initial period was more just making sure Darcy was comfortable and that we were allowing things to settle as much as we could. The kind of second phase of that initial post-operative period was that kind of 4 to 6 week area. We were able to get Darcy off the crutches, and that's when we could really get our teeth stuck into starting that reload or initial reload period. We still weren't able to specifically target that area around about the groin, but we were able to think outside the box a little bit, starting to introduce some of his key movement patterns in the gym, which I'm sure you'll see Darcy starting to move some of his normal lifts, which we programmed for him. And as kind of time progressed, we were able to then start to look at being a bit more targeted with how we strengthened that area and prepared Darcy for that next phase of his rehab.
So yeah, it's class to get back in with the boys, see all them. They've just came back from South Africa, so getting all the stories from there. And yeah, me and Coffee's going to go very close. Kind of when all the boys were in, me and Doc came very close together. Obviously, I had to come in. I was in pretty much 3 days a week, just for half an hour. Doc had to come in, check my wound, and obviously in my groin, it was very, very full on. So we can't look each other in the eyes anymore. But now, like I said, that's healed up, and kick on. So I'm just excited to get back into the swing of things and actually feel like a rugby player again.
All reps.
The joints, so boring.
Darcy, same strategy as you use. Think about that, tucking that pelvis stay tight to your trunk.
Too far apart, short up, alright? Alright, move on.
Right, guys, let's see how we go. Done? Yep. Our session done. We'll
3, 2, 1. Push, 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 push.
500 on.
That's where we need to be here. 3, 2, 1. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Come on. Push, 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 push.
A little bit wider, just that same snap off there. Bang.
Second one. Yep. Maybe not from my
Nice and springy, rapid contact, snap, 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 snap.
That ain't like it's a shimmer. This ain't a traffic movement. I've got to say.
Okay, the way back, just lateral, just up the trunk, left, taking right, left, taking right. Yep. Alright, nice and easy. Your toes pointing, your leg nice and straight. Nice straight line from up and shoulder to the hand and the foot. There we go. Yeah. It's felt like forever now. Honestly, I don't know what month I'm on now, rehab wise, but yeah, it's been tough. Like the year, it's been a tough year. Kind of everything's stemmed from my knee injury back in 2022, I think, the start of 2023. So everything kind of stemmed from that. When one thing's knocked off, it's amazing how it affects other parts of your body, and once it's not in sync, it's amazing how it can cause issues somewhere else. So for me now, it's just kind of getting the head down. Like my wound's now healed up. We kind of struggled with that. The first 4 weeks was pretty low key. I'd done nothing. I was on crutches for 4 weeks, and it was tough. It was very boring. So now that wound's healed up, I can now kick on and let the graft start.
Just a wee quick change and you're running that way. Oh, yeah. Change and on that way, okay? So it's just rotational. Okay.
Yeah, so obviously we're now week 12. Darcy's been on the field for a couple of weeks, so we had to get through quite a few specific tests and gather some data in the gym with Darcy to make sure that he was at a point where the tissue is going to tolerate the tasks that we're asking it to do. So we've been out in the field, we've progressed through our kind of straight line running drills, through some change of direction, through some kind of rugby specific drills. We spent a lot of time with S&C coaches, with Gary in particular, working on his posture and his running postures, and just trying to develop as many physical traits as we can while we've got Darcy. So our kind of rough estimation is that we'll have Darcy for about another 2 weeks before we look to integrate him into some kind of rugby training, or we integrate him into the training environment, which should give us plenty of time to tick off everything that we need to get through before we can introduce him back into the training field. I guess the nature of working with an athlete as talented as Darcy means that you have to continuously think about how we're going to progress his rehab. He has an ability to adapt to a training stimulus really quickly. So whenever we've thrown a task at Darcy, we've thrown a challenge at him, he's able to kind of surpass our expectations really quickly, which is great for myself and Gary's perspective, because it means that we really have to think about how we're progressing him every day. So we're being challenged to make sure that we're being progressive with our rehab, but also making sure that we are surpassing the challenges which Darcy's going to face on the pitch. Darcy's kind of super strength or his USP is that his acceleration, his deceleration, his change of direction. Those are all tasks which put massive demand across the groin, across the pelvic structures. So we have to think about how we're going to strengthen that area. We have to think about the tasks which we're going to design, or the drills we're going to design to expose him to those challenges in a more closed environment on the training paddock out there, before we can think about how we're going to introduce him into the field, where he's got multiple moving parts, players coming at him, avoiding players, introducing a ball. So that's all part of how we would program our rehab structure, kind of increasing the challenge of the tasks which we expose any player to. But particularly working with Darcy, you'll see some of the drills that we set up on the pitch, and he is an explosive athlete. So we have to really be mindful of that when we're designing our rehab and when we're delivering everything that we're asking him to do.
Good. Think about posture as you come around. That's it. And Friday, I'll have speed exposure and I'll be top up of what we didn't get. Okay? Happy? Happy.
Happy.
Jim?
Oh yeah.
Jim? What you got?
Doctors.
Right.
Copenhagen's cable pools, lateral lunge, What? Dave! Ready?
Yes, right on your side. What are you trying about today? Rapid.
I wear my chains to the game, but for the game, I sip champagne for the World Cup. Oh yeah, I'm here to start shit up. I pray on the hill of the sin, the Christ the Redeemer, the Lord worship up. Check me out, though. Reach the goals in soccer stars.
Please say holds, hang.
Way before I remember.
Was that less? It's getting that up. Just pulling it up, it's just have to work so hard for it. What else have we got?
We've got lateral slides and we've got cable pulls, I think, to do. And we're not Nordic because we were Nordic on Wednesday, so we must have flywheel. Nope, flywheel Wednesday. I'll get this. It's nice when you extend that reach.
It is really challenging those initial stages, because when we take these guys, these athletes, that their day job is to be involved on the pitch. It's running around with their pals. It's playing the sport that they enjoy doing. So in essence, they've lost a little bit of their identity, and that's been taken away from them for a period of time. So a big challenge for us is making sure that we're providing a kind of holistic care plan around about Darcy. We're taking into consideration his his mental well-being, his support structures around about him. We're making sure that he is well supported in his home environment, he's well supported in his work environment, and that he's not feeling separated from the rugby environment as much as possible. So in that initial stages, post-operatively, when it can be very frustrating and you can feel quite removed as an athlete in this environment, we will try where possible to integrate guys as much as possible. And because we've got such a tight-knit group of players in this environment, he's got a great support structure around about here. So Darcy enjoyed spending days around about the club. So bringing him into the environment, and although he's not necessarily able to participate in the gym, participate on the field, there are ways around, ensuring there's that inclusion from our perspective as well. And it's also a degree of, from our perspective, from the rehab team, making sure that we're staying on top of everything that we can stay on top of. Whether we can introduce exercises from an upper body perspective as early as we possibly can. As soon as that wound's healed, can we look to get Darcy in the pool? Can we look to get him on a bike? Are there things, although we're not necessarily targeting that area which we have to avoid from a tissue healing perspective, are there other ways which we can continue to give Darcy a training stimulus that she'd have on a normal daily basis? And that can sometimes be quite challenging, particularly when post-operatively you've got guys who have real specific things that they have to avoid, and Darcy's was a complicated one given the nature of where he had his wound and the healing time that required.
The actual injury itself's been alright. It's probably more my mindset. I've kind of struggled the most, and it's probably the first time out of all my injuries I've struggled with it. My mindset, it's kind of, I just want to play rugby. That's all I want to do, and it's been a tough, as I said, year. I've not played a huge amount of rugby. It's just been niggle after niggle, and that's probably the most frustrating thing. And it's it probably had an effect on me. So but now everything's sorted. I'm in a better place now. I can just see a straight path forward to getting back playing and get fighting again fit. So now, it was the hardest part was that side was it wasn't getting any better without the surgery. We were trying, obviously I said, the surgery, and we tried to rehab it, and it just wasn't getting any better, and that was probably the most frustrating thing for me. Not seeing any improvements there, so now I've had that up, it's feeling a lot better, and now I can crack on and kick on.
Right, come on lad, come on. Make the most of long ones. Okay, see the guy in the middle.
Yeah, it's good to be back at home. It's just nice getting back on the pitch with the boys. It's been a long 8 months, and it's probably the best my body's felt in over a year now, so it's nice just running out there feeling fresh. And pre-season's been fun, it's been challenging, but boys were ready for tonight, and we're excited to get back out on the pitch.